Have you ever thrifted a beautiful piece of fabric and you didn't know what you were going to do with it yet? So you hoarded it away until just the perfect time. Eventually, you're really glad that you did hoard it. That happened to me. Project Renway, a costume contest hosted by Wizards Keep, where the contestants can either roll for their category or they can go with what the hostess selected, which hers turned out to be a whimsical peasant with the color palette of the night sky. As soon as I read that, I knew exactly what fabric it was time to finally use. So this is the drawing I came up with. Don't look too closely at the hands. I don't make gloves, so it's fine. For the skirts, I had thrifted 2 circle tablecloths. They already had the ruffles on the bottom. Hooray for pre-sewn ruffles! Using a skirt that I'd made previously as a guide, I cut a circle in the center of each of them a little bit larger than my waist. That way I can add a stretchy waistband.
These little circles always make me so happy, but I don't know what to do with them. I wonder, I've thought of making like a wee little drawstring bag, but that'd be very tiny. What do you all do with your circle skirt innards?
For the waistbands, I used a cut-up t-shirt that I had cut up for another project, but I hoard too many scraps of fabric, but this time it actually came in handy. And here we have a classic example of the measure once, cut twice rule. I love working with stretchy and non-fraying fabric. And now we shall sew the waistband to the wrong side of the skirt and then flip it over almost like a sandwich, top stitching it down so all the ends are nicely tidied up. Because they were tablecloths, they were too see-through, so it worked that there were 2. I can layer them, mix and match, and ended up being very good. I liked that. I selected a pattern that I had made a while ago. I should probably actually kept that. I made this vest several years ago. I made the pattern. Why not make it reversible? So that's what I did. This is the first version of the vest. This is the back. You got pockets here, here, and here. I did like this. The coattails were a little awkward. I made a second version of the pattern where I made it a little shorter and I brought the neckline up just a little bit more. And that's the one I went with for the star vest. Beginning with this striped bluish sheet left over from this fun runaround cape. I laid out all the pieces, making sure that the stripes are going the same way, or at least the way I wanted them to go. I'm cutting out each piece 4 times, 2 on each of the fabrics. Well, I guess the one is on the fold, so that one I only cut out twice, but you know what I mean. I recruited my wonderful husband to help with the depinning process.
It's deepening our relationship.
I do love mixing stripes with another kind of pattern. Here is that gorgeous star fabric. I have been waiting to use this. Had some binding from like a whole set. If I used 2 different colors, I would have just enough. The star fabric was tricky to do, mainly because part of the pattern had this meteorite going through it, which if it was in a small piece would look like just a random stripe through the middle. So I tried to avoid getting that in an odd spot. Now that we have everything cut out, we're going to hem the top of the pocket openings on each of the shoulder pieces. When sewing similar seams, I really like to see how many I can connect without cutting the threads, and then I get to cut it all at the end. 'Tis rewarding in a small way. Taking both of our back pieces, we're going to pin the odd shoulder pieces to line up so we can top stitch around the shoulder pockets. Very nice. Good job. Looking pockety. And now we're going to pin the front sides together just at the starting point and sew them up so they are in one piece, all four sides. And see, look how long I have them linked together. Next comes sewing the front pockets on. Pinning first, then sewing them, and then we'll have pockets on both front and back of the shoulder. This little piece, don't worry, it's important later. Top stitching does wonders. Makes me feel very professional. And that's what we'll be doing next. First we sew the neckline right sides together, flip it inside out with this weird little piece free, and then we get to top stitch all around. Next we sew the underarms together, starting from the center of the two pieces like so, sewing out towards the edge. I hope that made sense. I don't know how to better explain it, but that's the best way to hide all the raw edges that I know of. Then we get to top stitch all around the insides of the shoulders. Back tab time. Gonna start by cutting twill tape in little 3-ish inch segments, fold them together and sew them all in a happy little train that we can cut apart later. I used 10 on each side. Well, technically 5 on each side, but it's reversible, so you're gonna need 20 total. Time to make little sandwiches with the twill tape ends sticking out, and make sure you do the brain work so that the loops are in the proper place when you turn them right side out, which we will be doing in a moment. Please enjoy all the pins. I will note that I am not pinning all of these together. I just put one back tab on top of the other so that they would all be similar. Instead of measuring each one, I just measured the first one. Don't know if that's the most accurate way to do it, but it works. And now it is time to sew them all together. Yes, of course, I will be sewing them in as long of a train as I can. Do be sure to leave one of the ends open so you can turn it right side out, which is very important. Turning it right side out to look pretty is a very key component of this entire endeavor. Do not forget. Do I know this from experience? Maybe. Turning them right side out is probably easier with one of those turning inside out skewers, but this works fine as well. Look how nice that turned out. Mark top and bottom of the back tabs with chalk. That way when you fold it over, give it a nice padding. It should transfer the marks over just fine on the other side. Pin one pair of back tabs to the back of the vest, tucking in the tiny raw edges on the one side. Then sew over the top in a rectangle of string. Now, you've heard of blind faith backing, perhaps? So this is blind faith sewing. Just line it up and hope it works, and yeah. Could be better, could be worse. Now for snap tape, which I love, and I almost cut 2 of when I don't need to because it separates. When sewing the snap tape on, please leave the weird piece free. Using a zipper foot, we're going to sew many lines of zigzagginess over to secure as much of the snap tape as possible. We shall at last use the weird piece. Fold it over like so we can hide all of our crazy stitching that was structurally needed, but not the prettiest. Binding time at long last. I did accidentally sew the binding on the wrong side at the last minute. Told myself I would go to bed at midnight. Ended up working till 2, and I still didn't get it done that night. though not optimal, was a peaceful way to end the evening, sea ripping and listening to some Brett Cooper. All the final touches I completed the next morning just in time for my sister to come and take pictures and film the final results. I had a little bit of binding left over that I was able to turn into a little bitty skirt hike. Well, this project was rushed, but it was very fun. And after all, what is sewing without a little bit of drama? Especially when it's a contest, which this is the first costume contest I've ever actually entered in. I've seen many of them, but I did not end up making the pockets. I just did the skirts and the vest, and I wore it over a thrifted blouse that I had. I ended up wearing the costume later at a Narnia fair. Very comfy. And I was a shopkeeper and looking forward to seeing what all the other creative folk come up with. Everyone's doing it for the fun of it. There's no major prize or anything. It's just, hey, we all like doing this. Why not challenge ourselves and share what we're making? So, yeah, I hope you have a good day. Thank you for your time. Bye. Welcome to Metal and Thread. I'm glad you're here. I have something dumb that might be fun. Welcome to Metal and Thread.
Are alive!